around an email, and it was interesting because he used an analogy that I've heard Carl use before, that it's as though we're on a train, we're heading toward the abyss, the train is about to go over. Wouldn't somebody want to put on the brakes? But what he said is that this fellow that sent around an email said it's as though people know that the train is getting near to the abyss, but they're looking out the windows, enjoying the scenery, and saying, "No, we don't want to stop the train."
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's not.
It's a real sort of Damocles thing that's in a sense too. That's repeating.
Say more about that.
But my take on that train is that they do not know that the train is. They don't believe in it. They just don't believe that the train is going to. Everything is fine, so therefore whatever is fine is right, and the abyss is just not there.
But Mauro, then how do you see what's been happening in our very immediate history now, where the people are hitting the pocketbook and they know that something was not going as it should have, things aren't fine. And I mean, there are a lot of people in very different walks of life who've been severely hit by this economic crisis.
Yes.
And what people say to me, such as someone said to me last night, what people say to me when I ask that question, that, and just what you said, Kathy, they will say, yes, I know the train is hitting the wall, or I know the sword is going to cut off my head, so I stay beneath it. But there's no other train.
No other track, no other station.
Right.
The track.
The ability to, and the ability to think that we can change it has been so damaged in the last 30 years that I think the biggest struggle we have is to say to people again, and finding those glimmers of hopefulness again, and to say to people again, yes, it can. And I don't really want to quote Obama, because I think that's, yes, we can was just, yes, we can keep doing what we've always been doing in that particular case. But where I think, I agree at least, that you're onto something, is what I remembered, and I was about to say, we talked to Frank, is that these corporate CEOs, they're people. They're not, they may think they're machines and they may think we're inferior, but the truth is they are people with a conscience and a soul that can be awakened, can relate, do have the ability to love. And I began to see, in looking at these things in these wars, that the people who are pulling the strings are not our government. It's these people who run these corporations who have become addicted and dependent on this materialism that are calling the shots, and we need to call them to repentance.
And I agree
and
with you.
And that's what I want to begin to do.
Well, another thing I think that's working in favor of the possibility of some pretty substantial change is that the baby boom generation that's nearing what would have been retirement age, say 65 to 70, is full of people who are very healthy, in their right mind, and have a lot still to offer. So,
right, I agree.
If you combine that with people being, I hope, doting grandparents, and thinking about their grandchildren, thinking about the future their grandchildren are going to inherit in terms of the environment. I mean, they have to, as I said before, they have to notice that the environment could use a little touch-up, and to say the very, very least. And then when you ask yourself, well, where would we ever get the money in this financial crisis to put the scientists to work trying to solve some of these severe, grave, possibly lethal problems? We know where the money is going. It's going into the pockets of Boeing, of Raytheon, of General Electric, of Lockheed, and these major, major weapon-producing companies. And it's hard for me to believe that the people in key places in those hierarchies are, as Mauro put it, on the plane, looking at the clouds, and not aware that there's an earth beneath those clouds, you know, that they only are dealing with what they can immediately see. They have to be people speculating on the future, because their work, to some extent, requires